Welcome to another episode of Just Cuz, the podcast where two cousins talk about things they love.
Just Cuz. And today we are talking the Netflix adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay.
Which I'm so incredibly curious. What did you think about this? Because I know you haven't seen the original animation.
Well, okay. So I watched the first episode of this. And actually I remembered that I had seen the first episode of the animated show, but
like
it
the
was
old
like
pilot.
but it was like 5 years ago. So I barely remembered it, and I watched it because some friends made me watch it when they found out I never saw Avatar, and I had no interest in keep watching it. It was very,
Yeah, it's
a
the
kids'
first season especially
Nickelodeon
is very
cartoon.
kids. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And I was like, whatever. And so I never saw this. I never saw the cartoon, and I never saw the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Probably a good thing.
Right, yeah, no, I know it was terrible, but I never actually saw it. So I sat down and watched this show. I watched the first episode, and I was like, okay, this was it was made very well. It was
Yeah.
The acting was at least from the first episode, this was my thinking. The acting was okay, kids, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. But I kept thinking, I was like, every 5 seconds, I was like, wait, this is definitely a reference to something. Okay, this is so... all of the dialogue was so unbelievably expositional, and I could not stand it. And I was like, why are you explaining everything? And I had these vague memories coming back to me of the first episode that I barely watched, right? And I was like, wait, doesn't it... I feel like the first episode doesn't explain any of this by the characters just outright saying it, but I already knew it. I could figure it out.
I'm looking at you.
Oh my god, I wanted to punch her in the face, literally. They did the intro. They did the classic earth, water, earth, wind, fire. The classic thing that everyone's heard. Whatever it is. Air, whatever, fuck you. I've never seen it. But I still know that is what everyone knows from Avatar.
Yeah.
Right?
Long ago, the four nations, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Yeah, that's the meme. That's what everybody knows from Avatar.
Yes.
And then they did it at the beginning. Well, first they had the cold open with this earthbender running through and this thing, and I was like, okay, what is this? Like, it felt like, I don't know, it felt like Tokyo Drift or something. It felt like a different kind of action movie. And I was like, why? What is this scene? It feels like it's from something else. And
I mean, Gran saying the opening, that is so incredibly forced. I was still jumping up and down when that happened. But you
so
are right.
forced.
Like all of the dialogue is either forced on the nose or just really, really bad exposition.
Literally. Well,
there's nothing other than those three.
The fact that they did the intro with, I'm sure that was Katara. I couldn't tell who was saying it, or it was somebody else, who was saying it.
It wasn't, because I remember thinking it was
really?
supposed to be Katara saying it.
Yeah, I was
but
like,
it wasn't.
okay, whatever. Someone was saying it, and
Yeah.
then it was not even like 20 minutes later in the episode, then Gran says the exact same thing, and then she comes out and says, this is the last airbender. He is the Avatar.
Yeah.
And I was like, bitch, how the fuck did you know that he is the Avatar? Why would you know that?
And even if she does, save that. I want that to be organically revealed. Like, come on.
It was just so like, ugh, it was not good. And
I mean, we're out the gate pretty negative on this. I will say I binged all of it. I've seen all 8 episodes. It's okay. Like, it's good enough.
Let me say what I did. So I watched that episode, and then I thought, I can't keep watching this. Not because it's bad. I would have kept watching it, but I said, I can't let this be my first view of Avatar.
Right.
I need to watch the animated show. So I went and I started watching the animated show, and I'm like halfway through season 1. I'm not done by any means, and I haven't gone back and finished the new show yet, but I have way more context. And now I know, halfway through season 1 of the animated show, all of that stuff that they shouted at me in the first episode out of their mouths, I know that stuff is organically introduced into the season. It's even like the first like 3 or 4 episodes. It's not super deep into the season, but they show you instead of telling you. And I think this gets to the very root of problems with movies and TV shows right now, especially from big studios. It's not all movies, but big studios, things that have lots of studio notes and hundreds of millions of producers dipping into it. They don't trust their audiences. Everything has to be told. That's been happening with all of the terrible movies that have come out, okay? Argyle, Madam Web, all these crazy things that have been coming out, Morbius, like, they don't, like, obviously those movies are bad for other reasons, but they don't trust their audience. They don't.
Well, I think even in that, you hit the nail on the head, because a lot of those movies, except for probably Morbius, are really good concepts, and they could be great, but you're right, the studio notes and so many cooks in the kitchen, it just ended up with, it was made by a committee, and it just isn't fun. I mean, and that's a lot of what Avatar is. Like, even in its climactic ending where something amazing is happening, and I don't really want to spoil it because it also happens in the first season of the animation, but it's really awesome, and the music's swelling, and it honestly gave me goosebumps, and then those goosebumps went away because a couple of the characters had to explain what was going on so that the audience was up to speed. It sucked.
Stop. Why don't you trust us? You think we're stupid? Like, I get it. I get it. Okay. Like, all of the right-wing assholes didn't understand Barbie. And I get that. They thought it was, oh, she hates all men and is telling women to hate all men. Whatever. But it's not for them. Most people who go to see movies, okay, you want to know something? This is one of the first things that I learned in school studying film, right? Shot of a character looking. Then there's the next shot of a thing. Then back to the character looking.
Yes.
Those sequence of events, no one is telling the audience, I'm looking at this thing, okay? But you can tell, because you see the character looking, and then you see something, and then you're back to the character looking and reacting to what they're seeing. And that is showing. That is a linear
it's just
progression.
Inferring, because people are smart, and even if they're not smart, their subconscious can tell what's going on.
It's a sort of film language. It's not writing it down saying this guy looks at this. It's showing you. And I don't understand why nobody does that, especially with something like Avatar, because I know that it's so beloved because it's good. It's good. Yes. I'm not even through the first season, which everyone says is the worst of it. You know, it gets better after season 1. And I can tell that it is a good show, even though it's for kids, and sometimes I'm like, this is crazy. But most of the time I'm laughing. I'm having a good time. And I'm not being spoon-fed everything. Force-fed, more like. Not spoon-fed. Force-fed. I'm not being force-fed.
Yeah. It's just shoveling it into your mouth.
Backstories and trash that I don't need because they're showing it to me when it matters.
I feel like we're gonna get into the spoilers of not just the first episode of the Netflix show, but a lot of the animation. So spoiler warning. But
wait, are we? No, don't spoil
first
it for
episode. Me. No. I'm only gonna spoil like up to what you've watched.
Oh,
I don't even know what that is. but anyway, the Netflix show starts out by showing the siege of the air temple.
Yes. Oh my
and
god.
like that, I should stress that this is really cool to see all of the CG and the cinematography. It's great.
It's not
but
made,
this should have been
it's not
saved
made
for it should have been saved for halfway through the season where we get a flashback in the Great Storm episode, or just what is it called? The Storm? I assume you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it's just like I'm very angry about it because as soon as the episode started, I was like, wait a second. Doesn't the show begin when they find Aang in the ice? Katara and what's his name? The sexist Sokka. Apparently he's not sexist in the show. In the Netflix show, I heard.
He doesn't learn any of those lessons.
What? So I heard that they made Sokka not sexist in the Netflix show, and as a sexist myself, I find that very appalling. I can't believe that this erasure is happening. Our representation is going down the toilet. They rob all the characters of their personality too. I noticed that in the first one. I was like, I remember Aang being really like playful and kind of annoying, but like full of joy and wonder and like trying to play all the time like a fucking kid. And I was like,
he's a 12-year-old
not doing anything.
Aang should always be goofing off because he doesn't want to, fulfill his destiny. Katara should have a bunch of fire in her personality, which she has none of. Sokka is supposed to be this, like, brash and arrogant, sexist guy. Yeah. I mean, he's still lovable, but he's supposed to be somewhat unlikable so that you grow to love him.
Exactly. He's supposed to have a character arc and grow and learn things. The only person in your show learning stuff shouldn't be Zuko, okay? I'm sorry. I know everyone loves Zuko and his redemption arc. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know, but I've heard it's the best thing since sliced bread. But
it is. Trust me.
He cannot be the only character who learns shit. Obviously, Aang has to learn all the elements, but that's for plot. That's not his own inner journey. He has to mature. And there's no maturing for this Aang in the Netflix show because I don't know, I didn't see the whole thing, but from the first episode I could tell. It was like, he's, I don't know.
I can tell you.
Not very kid-like.
With 100% certainty, after 8 long hours of watching this new Aang, I have no idea who he is. Yeah, and that kind of sucks. Oh my god! Like, if you're listening, you got to take a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, he does a really good job with all of the action stuff. He does less of a good job with the emotional stuff. But
okay, you know what? It's not the kid's fault. Like, I think he's a perfectly fine actor, and he will get better. Kid acting is such a specific thing because, guys, kids, I don't know, they're dumb. They have not that kid, but like. Kids don't know all of their emotions yet. They don't know how to work all of their feelings and features and stuff. And so
look at the first few Harry Potter movies. Like, actors get better.
You can't judge it the same as you judge adult acting. I think he is a perfectly fine actor for what he's doing. Absolutely. And I don't think it's his fault at all. They take all of the fun and personality out of the world. It's not just like by taking it out of the characters, it's gone from everything. Like, I don't know, the master, Aang's master at the
Gyatso?
Temple. Gyatso, yeah. They, like, in flashbacks in the show, in the original show, they have fun together. They throw cakes at monks, and they play around, and they're supportive of each other, and they're, like father and son, and, like... But
there's
this
also
one is
a moment...
just like, he's like, I'm telling you, I'm your friend. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? Well,
in the cartoon, and this is in the flashback episode, but there's a moment where Gyatso's like, I'm not going to let all of the other monks take you away from me. And that in that line, you get the emotion. Whereas in the Netflix show, they literally say, I am your friend, I will always be your friend. Which is stolen from Man of Steel. When Kevin Costner's like, you're my son, you'll always be my son. That's all I could think of in that moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's all lazy. Sorry, don't kill me for the Man of Steel hate. but I think it's all lazy.
I'm not going to try to protect Man of Steel.
Yeah, no, it's disappointing. And I that's crazy. It's disappointing to me. I never gave a shit about Avatar until like 3 fucking days ago. But
and I mean, what episode are you on? I should have asked that earlier.
I don't remember.
What's the last thing that happened that you remember? Just so that I know of what to discuss up to.
They're headed to the South Pole, and they left the Earth Kingdom.
So you met Boomy?
Yeah. Okay. That crazy bastard.
I love Boomy. He's in the show, and he's I don't even know what to say about him. I wish he was more fun and whimsical.
Is he just like, I don't even know.
He's, well, in the animation, and a lot of this review, I feel like, especially from me, is just going to be, hey, they did this better in the animation. But in this case, they definitely did it better in the animation, because King Boomy makes him go through a bunch of trials, and they're crazier than the last.
Yeah. And
none of that is in the Netflix show.
What?
They just have a fight.
What do they do? They just fight?
And also, there's no reveal that it's King Boomy. Like, he just knows when they first go.
See...
yeah.
See, you don't
there's no
trust
fun
the
with it.
Audience.
There's
no fun. There's no tension.
Yeah.
There's no build-up. That was the problem with the Percy Jackson show. They took all the tension out. The characters knew everything. You know? It's just not fun that way.
I don't even know, because I think that's my biggest problem with it. They have to go through the series of events that are necessary in the show because that's what happened in the animation, but they don't have any fun with it. They just go, this was fun in the old show, so we have to put it in now. They even have parts that are drawn from the second season, and I feel like that's just because that was a meme, and I'm talking about the Secret Tunnel song, which I don't know if you've heard of that.
I've heard that song.
I mean, again, that was really cool to see in the show.
I didn't know that was from Avatar.
Really?
No,
Secret
of course not.
Tunnel.
I've never seen it. Secret Tunnel.
Oh my god, I cannot wait for you to watch season 2.
I'm very
Honestly,
excited.
Season 2 and season 3, like you kind of mentioned before, they are incredible.
No, I'm very excited because, like, all I knew about Avatar before was that he's Aang and not Ong. And
the Avatar.
Disgusting. And I knew that, obviously, it's all the elements. And what else did I know? And there was, they have the spin-off show where they don't let the lesbians be lesbians. That's all I knew about it. Right.
Yes.
That's literally all I knew about Avatar before 3 days ago.
And now you're going to watch all of it. Because I feel like once you finish Avatar, you'll get into Legend of Korra. Which isn't as good, but it's still good.
I've heard people like it. But I just... It's disappointing that... First of all, that you feel... Not you, Max, specifically. Studios.
But I'm sure I do feel it.
No, that studios feel like they need to remake everything. We've already talked about this, but everything's a remake right now. And instead of remaking bad things, some of them are remaking bad things. I guess this is a second try at the bad live-action movie. But the anime was good. It was perfectly good. And it was like... Why does it need to be live action? Some people view live action as a, more prestigious art form, but it's not. It's just different. Does it have to be remade so that it's not for kids? Well, then you lose the heart of the original show. The original show is for kids, but it deals with a lot of heavy topics. It deals with death. It deals with parental pressure. It deals with war. It deals with sexism. It's a very well-balanced, meaningful show. And
and it's very mature in its themes, but it's still for children. But the Netflix show, that's something that we haven't even really talked about yet. But yeah, someone's burned alive in the first episode. It is not for kids at all. I mean, I feel like it still might be, but that's too far.
Which is like, why make this? Why make it? Because you're making it for adults. Okay, the adults that you're making it for are the people who were children when the cartoon came out. Okay, fine, but then you're gonna take out all the things that they liked about it. So why keep it for them? Why target it at them?
And this is a reason to maybe reboot it. Like, I feel like, especially nowadays, all of the anime-ish cinematography, that is more than possible with modern filmmaking.
Of course it is. Oh my god.
Yeah, if you're gonna...
Think of everything everywhere all at once. Think of how cool it would have been if it was like that style of fighting.
Or Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, oh
like,
my
it's more
god,
than possible.
I love Scott Pilgrim.
But if you're going to remake a child property, do it so that a new generation of kids can see this and fall in love with the franchise. Like, that's the reason why you reboot it.
That's where the Percy Jackson show succeeded, and and is going to continue to succeed because it has another season. And this show will probably get another season.
Yes, the viewership is astronomical. I would be surprised if this doesn't get a second season. And I do want to see that, mainly because of a character like a blind earthbender, Toph, if you've heard of her. I need to see her. But I do want to see a second season because I feel like taking constructive criticism in, the filmmakers of this show can make something better.
Yeah, but will they?
I do believe that.
But will they?
I don't know.
Who made this show? Are any of them connected to the original show?
Okay, I think I mentioned this before on the podcast, but the original creators of the show were working on this Netflix adaptation, but they left early on due to creative differences.
Oh my god, you did tell me that. Yeah, that's awful. That's a terrible sign. Okay, well... Oh, well.
Well, I still think it could be good. Everything. I want to see more. I still want to see more. And maybe that's because I will watch anything, but...
Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to watch the cartoon.
Yeah. Please keep on watching the cartoon. Some standalone episodes, like Zuko Alone... Fantastic. That will be forever.
I'm very excited to get into the Zuko stuff. I mean, he's obviously in the episodes I've seen, but hasn't gotten into his arc or anything. So I'm very excited for that.
I won't spoil anything, but there is a lot of focus on him going forward.
Yeah. Oh, I do know that.
But I can't think of too much.
And I want to see Aang master all the elements. It seems so cool.
Okay. I was just about to say, I can't think of too much else to say without spoiling, but I feel like I have to spoil one big thing for you for the Netflix show, so it probably doesn't matter.
That's fine. I don't care.
Aang doesn't learn any water bending.
What?
At all. In the entire season.
Hold on. Hold the phone. You should have said this earlier. What? Okay. Forgive me if I'm mistaken. I haven't finished the anime, but... The show is split up into 3 seasons.
Yeah.
The first season is called Book 1, Water.
Yes.
Right? I'm assuming the second season is Book 2, Earth, and the last season is Book 3, Fire.
Fire.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And he learns each element.
He should. Of course he should. Of course he should learn waterbending by the end of season 1. That's Book 1. What are they doing, Netflix?
I don't know. And I feel like at this point, they're just going to have to start the next season, and Aang has already learned waterbending from Katara. Wouldn't it be, like...
anticlimactic.
Yeah, wouldn't it be interesting and captivating to watch Aang learn this waterbending and have him use it in fights?
That's literally just the purpose of this show. Aang's whole... Remember what I was talking about before? About his character journey being to mature into the role of the Avatar? Right?
Yeah.
But his plot journey was to learn all of the elements? Right? I haven't seen the show. I'm just assuming, I haven't finished the show. I'm just assuming that from the beginning. Am I correct, Max?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm correct. So if his entire character journey of maturing is taken out of, like, maturing and wanting the role of the Avatar, right? Is taken out of the show, and his plot journey of learning the elements to defeat the Fire Nation.
I mean, there's also a lot of Avatar state stuff with his chakras and such, but you are right.
Sure, but that's rolled up into it. I don't know about semantics. I haven't seen it yet. But I mean, his it's like, it's very classic character stuff, okay?
Yes.
You have a character, they're missing something, they want something, and they need something. Okay, how is this gonna happen, right? That's character writing 101. And for the plot, they need something to do. The plot is to, unite the nations once more and take down the corrupt leaders of the Fire Nation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I have this deep of an understanding of a show that I haven't even seen, I'm barely into season 1, right? If I can understand this, why don't the people who are actually adapting this show understand this?
Well, there's another thing in the animation, and I have to talk about it, so it might be a spoiler for you. But Aang learns waterbending early on in that season, and there's even a moment where he's getting it so easily that Katara gets super pissed that he's getting it quicker than her. And they had, like, if you want to add dramatic tension between these characters, have that moment in the Netflix show. But no, there's none of that. None of that at all.
Do they have... what are their relationships like in the show? Because Sokka is no longer having his character journey and learning
Sokka's
kind of
just the leader. I mean, they still go to Kyoshi Island, and he trains with the Kyoshi warriors, and that's fun, and he meets Suki, but I don't even know what, like, Katara's role is, other than she's the girl, and then Aang's the main hero.
Stop. Katara
I wish
in
I
the
could...
show is so good. She has such an interesting character, and she's so full of passion and heart. And, like, in the first episode, she almost, like, leaves her entire tribe to save Aang. Before she and Sokka do it together, she was gonna do it by herself.
Almost out of spite.
Yeah.
Because that's who she is.
And that's so interesting, and I want more from that. And in the show, she's just like, I have to keep my waterbending a secret. Okay, Sokka, whatever you say. Like, shut the fuck up, stop it.
There's also a big moment, and I'll be very vague, but she challenges institutional sexism, and that does happen in the Netflix show, but it's not as good. Like, it's still there, but the way they handle it in the animation, and this is at the end of the first season, is incredible. Cannot wait for you to get there.
Okay.
Her duel with Master Paku.
Ooh, okay.
That's all I'll say. But yeah, I can't think of too much else to say. I want to spoil everything, but I gotta wait for you to finish watching it.
Well, I'll keep you updated. I'm sure
Yes.
I'll get through it pretty quickly.
We might have to have another Avatar, just original animation show, because I love talking about that. But yeah, with that, let's move on to the consumption corner, where we're just starved for content.
I don't know. After all this content, I don't know if I'm
still
anymore.
eating good.
Okay.
Well, what have you been watching, reading, listening to?
Well, first off, let's discuss something I brought up slightly. But we both saw Madam Web. We didn't make an episode on it because honestly, we didn't feel like there was much to say.
I mean, other than I also mentioned it again before. There's a really cool concept in there. Could have been great.
Yeah.
Like a killer Spider-Man going after 3 Spider-Men from the future, but then another time traveler is in the mix and she's trying to save them. Could be cool. It was boring as hell, though.
It was very boring. Okay, see, the thing is like, I didn't actively hate it while I was watching it. I was entertained. Was I entertained by how bad it was? Absolutely. But was I still entertained? Yes.
I wish I was more entertained.
I spent so much time laughing at how bad the script was and laughing at the ADR. Oh, guys, it's terrible.
The ADR, oh my god.
It happens while you see their mouths moving, and it's so awful.
Did they even try to, like, lip sync their voices?
No, of course not.
Because it didn't look like it.
No, oh my gosh. I've seen dubs that are better lip synced.
Yeah. Oh,
guys,
god.
Go watch Young Royals with the dub on, and it's better than this. That's actually insane.
There's moments and lines where they're like talking about in the cabs. One of them, I think it's the nerdy one with glasses. She's like, "How can someone climb on the walls like that? Like, couldn't happen with physics and gravity."
No. That wasn't Sydney Sweeney. That wasn't Sydney Sweeney. That was the other one who was the smart one. Sydney Sweeney, even though she had glasses, she was not the smart one. She was the I don't know, the Catholic schoolgirl one. I don't know why they dressed her like that.
I don't know why anyone was.
That was the other one, the one in the yellow shirt. I don't remember any of their names. I think her name was
Anya.
I
assumed
Anya or something. But
maybe.
And then the other one was
Anya
like
Corazon.
Yeah. And then she said something. She's like, that doesn't make sense with physics. And then one of them was like, they said something about how that's dumb. I don't know. They were like. Yeah, something about, like, I hate science or I don't believe in science. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Who wrote this?
It was so bad. 100 million people. That's why it was so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No, it was...
Yeah. Not worth a watch. One of the worst
scripts I've ever seen. I will say... an aspect that I've seen some people talk about it, but I haven't heard too many people talk about it. The Cassie is Madam Web's name for some reason. What I couldn't get past it is that Sydney Sweeney in Euphoria plays Cassie, and in this movie she's calling Dakota Johnson Cassie, and she's like one of the only people who says her name other than
they just had to
Adam
put it
Scott. And then she just says
God.
Cassie so many times. I'm like, bitch, you're Cassie. That's hilarious. Anyway, but because I couldn't get my head into the movie. I didn't believe them as the characters. No. But also Dakota Johnson's character, Madam Web, Cassie, she's just, I'm not like other girls. I hate baby showers. I hate other women. I like beer and
that baby shower is a terrible scene.
I hate when children are thankful that I saved their mom's life.
What the heck was that?
And I hate moms, and I hate my mom because she's dead. And she's so stupid to go into the woods while she's pregnant. I'm like, okay, calm the fuck down. Your mom got shot. She wasn't killed by a mountain lion or a spider. She got shot in the woods, in the jungle.
Like, surely there would be an autopsy with a bullet hole. I don't know. Yeah. And also she would be able to find out, hey, I had this incurable disease and that's why my mom was out looking out there. Like, that is not hard to find out that you used to have a disease.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because if she was born in Peru, she had a birth certificate from Peru. Yeah. But she was obviously sent back to America and grew up in the foster system there. So obviously they would have her records because they have her mother's name even
and
though
her
she was
medical
dead.
History.
I feel like they should. If they know that she's American, then they
I just
should
remember
know
that
who her
whole
mother is.
Like, they tried to play the emotional tag of like, oh, it turns out my mom did love me, and I'm just like, yeah.
Of course,
isn't
your
that
mom
obvious?
Loved you.
Like, what are we doing here?
It was It's not a good film, guys.
No.
I mean, there were some parts I enjoyed when she tried to climb the wall like Spider-Man. That was hilarious. You know,
when the evil Spider-Man did a backflip into the ambulance that was crashing into him, like otherwise he would not have been hit by that car. That was a fantastic moment.
I had a really entertaining time trying to figure out if that was Emma Roberts or not. It was, but I could not figure it out. She didn't look right. At first I saw her and I was like, that's Emma Roberts. And then I was like, oh my god, Emma Roberts? And then I was like, wait, she doesn't look like Emma Roberts. And then I looked
the entire time
she was.
I was thinking, like, are they making Emma Roberts Aunt May? Like, no. Is that what they're doing? No, she's Peter's
Aunt
mom.
May was never pregnant with Peter Parker. Oh yeah, guys.
I had the brain fart.
This story is actually the story of Peter Parker's birth. And
so
Adam
dumb.
Scott
they had to put that in there.
Is Uncle Ben. I actually like that casting, and I'm sorry that he was in such a terrible movie, because I love Adam Scott, and I love when he plays characters named Ben. And he was Ben.
Isn't he Ben from Parks and Rec?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love Ben from Parks and Recreation. I love Adam Scott. He's amazing in Severance. Any actor with the last name Scott, okay, Andrew Scott, amazing. Adam Scott, amazing. Any others? I don't know. Probably good.
and those two look pretty similar to me too.
What? They look nothing alike. They are both white with brown hair. That's the only thing that's similar about them.
I guess I'm white racist.
You look more like Adam Scott than Andrew Scott does.
I take that as a compliment. But I have been watching a bunch of new shows because I feel like I was meaning to get into them, and I recently had a flight, so I downloaded a couple episodes of the 4th season of True Detective Night Country. Okay. And I've already finished it. It's a little controversial right now because the ending is a little anticlimactic, and I do think that is the case, but that doesn't take away from how well made and how intriguing a lot of the mysteries are in this show. Like, there's a lot of, I don't know if the right word even is, but mystery boxes that they don't really answer, but I still loved it. Definitely watch season 4 of True Detective.
Okay. So my new thing is, obviously I'm watching Avatar, so I'm not watching anything new. I'm still watching Gilmore Girls because it's long, and I was reading this book called Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. It's cute little romance. Go check it out if you like a sapphic fake dating tale. But I actually decided to educate myself. I know, hold the applause. I actually decided to become educated, and I bought these 2 history books, and I've started reading one of them. Obviously, I'm going to read the other one when I finish the first one. But I bought The Ark of a Covenant by Walter Russell Mead. And
I heard that and I was like, oh, Indiana Jones.
It's not the Ark of the Covenant. No, it's the Ark of a Covenant. And it's about it's about America's history with Israel. So that's interesting.
Okay.
And I also bought The 100 Years War on Palestine by Rashid Khalidi. So
you are a better person than me, because I'm watching TV and reading comic books, not actually getting information on real world stuff.
I wanted to sound smart. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I actually am interested in this stuff, and I have certain opinions that certain people disagree with, and it can get very vitriolic, so I want to have all my facts straight. If anyone tries to come at me, I don't try to get into historical arguments or stuff, but they seem to find me. I'm a very opinionated person.
And we have a pretty opinionated family.
Right.
So it comes up.
Sure. But despite our best efforts.
Yeah. But you, speaking about reading, you recommended, what is it, Circe and what is the other one?
Song of Achilles.
I have not read those.
Oh.
But instead, I probably should be reading those, and they are definitely on my list. But I've been reading a comic book called Kill the Minotaur, which I thought was going to be a little bit Greek mythology. And it is. It's about a minotaur, but it's way more sci-fi than I was ever expecting. Really, really cool, though. It's like sci-fi retellings of Greek mythology.
Interesting.
Super fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
kind of like the Lunar Chronicles. That's like a book,
little
and it's
bit.
like sci-fi retellings of fairy tales, like princess fairy tales.
From what I've heard of, the Lunar Chronicles. But yeah, definitely check out Kill the Minotaur.
That's
cool artwork too, like beautiful.
Sick.
Mm-hmm. But I got one more recommendation. But before I get to that, have you anything else that you've seen?
No, I kind of said mine all in one, all together. Oh wait, I saw a movie. What was it? oh, yes, there it is. Okay, I remember. Okay, I watched the Super Mario movie.
Okay.
I didn't see it when it came out. And when I saw it, I was like, I kind of wish I saw this in the theaters. It was really fun. And I liked it. It was very much like, I thought it was just going to be a cheap cash grab, and it cast all famous people instead of actual voice actors. You know, take it or leave it.
I still think in a way it is kind of that.
It is. It definitely is, obviously. That's why it was released in tandem with the Universal opening their Super Mario World. But
in the same way that the Sonic movies are fun, it's fun.
Well, I don't care about Sonic, but I care about Mario. So
I think the Sonic movies are better than the Mario movie.
Liked the Super Mario movie. I liked it. I thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was, well, maybe because I was drunk, but I thought it was hilarious.
that probably helped.
And I thought it was a real love letter to the original game. Like, it had all of the motifs and all of the flashbacks, and I love Jack Black's Peaches song. It was so good.
Well, speaking about songs, there were a little too many needle drops in the movie, if I'm remembering right. Like, for at least a half dozen times in the movie, they're just like, you remember this super catchy pop song? We're gonna put it on for 30 seconds. I'm trying. They played "Take Me On" when they were going.
You're right.
Donkey Kingdom.
I did. Oh yeah, I kept making jokes about how many times Chris Evans was in a movie with that song, because it's used. What was it? The Brooklyn one.
Oh.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn. And I was like, hey, Guardians 3 just used this. And it used another one that Guardians also used. And I was like, that's funny. But I also, in the same sitting, while I was also a little drunk, I also watched Paddington 2 for the first time.
And you cried your eyes out.
No, I was too drunk, but I enjoyed it. It was really, really good. I almost cried.
I've seen that movie at least like 3 or 4 times, and every time when he sees his aunt again and they're visiting,
God,
I'm just a bawling mess.
Good. I adored it. It was beautiful. And
it's perfect.
I loved how he turned the whole crazy prison into a bunch of metrosexuals. It was great. Then they
Brendan
made
Gleeson
a
or whatever his name is.
What? Knuckles.
Brendan Gleeson, Mad Eye Moody.
I was like, excuse me, Max, his name is Knuckles.
My bad, my mistake. And then Hugh Grant is the villain. Incredible.
I know.
Somehow better than the first villain from the what was it, Nicole Kidman from the first movie? Yeah, it was
Nicole Kidman. Well, because me and my friend were watching it, and we were like, Hugh Grant, he shouldn't be a villain in this. He should go back and make sourdough for Benoit Blanc. And so afterwards, we were talking about that so much during Paddington 2. So then we watched Glass Onion, because we'd already seen it. We rewatched Glass Onion, and then after that, we watched the Super Mario World movie. So it was a night. It was a night full of movies. We were like, damn.
It was a fun night, I bet.
Yeah.
But my last recommendation is I watched the first maybe half of the season of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I've been wanting to see
super
that.
good. You gotta watch it.
I was gonna start that,
God.
but then you told me to start watching Avatar, so
well, you gotta watch everything, Sasha.
I only have so many days. I only have so many hours and so many days.
I was stuck on a flight and I downloaded it to my phone, so that's how I was able to watch a lot of it.
I heard it's great. Our grandmother actually recommended it to me.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
She and our grandfather and our aunt watched it together. Watched like the first few episodes. And then she was like, Sasha, you gotta go watch it.
Well, if there's a couple things that I could say to convince you to watch it is, like, every episode there is one or two special guest stars.
You don't have to convince me. I'm already gonna watch it.
Well, I'm convincing the audience.
Okay, do it.
But, like, Paul Dano's in this show. One of the Skarsgårds is in this show. The fucking everyone. Like, Ron Perlman is in an episode. It's so much fun. And a lot of these people are just in a episode. And it's also the kind of show where every episode is kind of a stage in their relationship, and it makes me realize how toxic and messed up a relationship can be, just under the worst circumstances.
Sure.
And maybe it's cathartic for me to have just a normal relationship seeing this trash one. But it's a fantastic show.
I'm very excited. I've been meaning to watch it for some time, and I just keep putting it off. So I am, as soon as I finish Gilmore Girls, that will be my second show in tandem with Avatar.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure next week I will have plenty to say because I'll have finished Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh, great.
And I'm sure we'll be talking Dune too, because oh my god, I'm so excited for that.
Okay, I need to rewatch the original Dune. Should I have an opportunity to maybe see Dune in IMAX? In
the first one or the second?
No, the second one, the new one. In the whatever it is, the 777 milliliter, whatever it is, IMAX, like
milliliter.
Millimeter. I know things. I know milliliter is not it. I'm sorry. It's 10:30.
I'm sorry, and I had to point that out. But yes, definitely watch it in IMAX. I am probably gonna be driving a couple 100 miles to go to the nearest IMAX theater personally, because I need to be watching this in IMAX.
Yeah, I kind of want to. I've heard really good things about the previews. People love it. So
yeah, apparently this is Empire and one of the greatest sci-fis ever. I don't want to hype myself up too much, but everyone's saying it's the best. Oh my god.
Well, it's hope, because the first one was definitely not A New Hope. It was good, but it wasn't. It doesn't stick with you like A New Hope.
I think it does, but that's just me. I'm also a fanboy.
It. Yeah.
I've now read the book, and I'm a Dune stan.
Aww.
So,
who's your favorite character in Dune, the book?
Obviously, Duncan Idaho. Obviously.
I obviously know who that is.
It was Jason Momoa. He was the dude bro.
Oh, the dude bro. Oh, got it. Jason Momoa. Okay, I got that.
Or maybe
you think I'm gonna remember someone? I didn't know his name was Idaho. Now I'll probably remember it.
Yeah, I feel like a big reason why he's one of my favorite characters is because his name is Duncan Idaho.
That's hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
Stupidest
That's
name
a
ever.
Great name. I think it's the best.
Who thought of that? This has been a live action adaptation of a podcast.